Hello again, everybody, and welcome to a quick playtest of a mission I have set up as part of a competition that's going to run after the release of DCS World 2.5. And as you can see, I'm in the F-86 Sabre with a whole lot of other F-86s around me. And I had mentioned during earlier competitions wanting to put together a recreation of some of the old fighter weapons meets from the 50s and early 60s. And this is one of them. This is 1954 that I'm trying to recreate. And it's going to have a set of missions that can be flown and scored using TACVIEW. And then we'll be able to compare our scores in the simulation to the real scores that were put up by the pilots. I have a method devised to be able to do that quite accurately. So let me go ahead and get this mission going. And this is my first playthrough of the mission other than just letting the AI fly through it just to check triggers and check radio calls. And this is definitely not going to be the final version. This is just really the initial first draft. So we saw on the screen earlier that I have F-10 radio options available and that I'm to contact Springfield 1. That's going to be my target tow aircraft for this mission after I get the engine started, and after that we can get a quick mission briefing. So let me go ahead and get the startup progressing. I'll call for ground power from the ground crew. So F8, F2, F1.
Copy.
And I'll pull up the Kneeboard and get the checklist going,
Ground power is now on.
Although I'm not going to make this in any kind of detail here. I just want to get this going and check things as we go. Okay, throttle up, engine master on, battery, starter then battery, 3% outboard, 6% halfway. Okay, got it. So engine master, let's go for starter, battery, and I'm just watching my RPMs. I want to go out of cutoff on my throttle after 3%. There we go. Pulled up out of cutoff, and then 6%. I'm going to pull it up to idle. And that'll get the startup progressing. Okay, throttle adjust for proper exhaust temperature. Oil pressure check, engine instruments check. Drop tank's not applicable. I'm flying with a clean aircraft. External power disconnected. Generator caution or warning light off. So RPMs are coming up through about 30%. I heard something clunk back there. That was probably the like landing gear doors or something closing. And exhaust temperature's coming down, and that looks like a pretty good start right there. Let's go ahead and disconnect external. So F8, ground electric power off. And I've got my flight up there, starting engines 2. Let me go ahead and get the canopy, so I don't have to do too much audio editing after the fact. Okay, ground power is off, but I have my generator caution light on, or warning light on. I'm going to advance the throttle. Okay, the light's off. Okay, then ground tests. I'm going to skip all this. All I really want to do is get into this mission and see if all the stuff is working. So, okay, my instructions were to contact Springfield on UHF channel 1, so we'll go transmit, receive. I'm on channel 1 by default. I wanted to make that as easy as possible, not to require any more radio switching than required. Let's go for F10, Springfield 1-1, infield radio check.
Infield 1-1, radio check on channel 1. Springfield 1-1, read you loud and clear, infield. I'm about 1 minute from taxi, so feel free to follow me out if you're ready. If not, no problem. You'll have a few minutes to catch up in the air.
Okay, and as you can see, the audio was all me. That's going to change, most definitely, probably on the final version of this. And Springfield is back there behind me, and that radio call basically kicks off all the actions for the mission. And I do have a fail-safe set up so that if I just completely skip that and I just want to get into the air without making that call, then all the triggers are just going to start after I taxi. I just have a little fail-safe built for that, but I'm going to basically wait until he taxis by, and there he goes, he's taxiing right now, and then follow him on out. That's how I sort of envision the timing going, but it's not critical. I didn't make anything timing critical at all on this mission, so it's just at your own pace. Okay, so taxi, safety pins removed, main gear chocks removed, throttle advance, nose wheel steering button depressed, turn and slip indicator check, radio compass check, direction indicator check, actual changes. Okay, I'm not going to worry about radio navigation. Everything is going to be visual. And
Infield 1-1, Springfield 1-1. I'm taxiing past your location right now. Feel free to follow me out if you're ready. If not, I'll see you over Dogball Lake. I'll be monitoring channel 1 throughout the flight, so let me know if at any point you have trouble spotting me. I can give you a hand with that.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm just going to follow this guy out. And I noted there that I was able to request like a little aid to spotting him, so let me just check that that actually worked as I work the radio and try to taxi at the same time. So F11 to back out of that, and I'm blowing off ATC. I should actually try it with ATC just to make sure that doesn't break anything when it comes to the other aircraft taxiing. Okay, so let's see. I have a mission briefing, refresher training. I have, okay, F3.
1-1, infield 1-1. I've lost sight of you. What's your location? Okay, infield, try it now. If you still can't pick me up visually, I'm probably too far away. Press on to T-Bird Lake and we'll link up there.
Okay, and that's a little bit extreme, I guess, for on the ground, but, well, I'm sure I'll try it again once this guy's airborne. Because I suspect this is going to look a lot better in the air, but I'll have him go ahead and shut that off now. So F10, F3.
Okay, Springfield 1-1, I see you now. Copy.
And there we go. Ops check good of that. That's really all that I wanted to check, is that that little radio function was working. I also had there on the F10 menu, let me see, begin mission briefing, and this will, all the radio communications I want to be completely optional and not to happen unless it's really directed by the player. All the person has to do is just fly to the target, follow this guy up there and shoot the target. So let's begin mission briefing.
Springfield 1-1, infield 1-1. Go ahead with the briefing. Okay, infield, you can find all this in your info packet if you need to reference it later. You can bring that up by pressing Right-Shift-K and then navigate to the different pages using your bracket keys. Now, as you know, this is the first of 6 air-to-air sorties you'll be flying this week. 4 will be flown at 20,000 feet and 2 will be flown at 27,000 feet, half using radar ranging and half using freestyle manual ranging. This first sortie is at 20,000 feet and you'll use radar ranging. Press space if you copy.
Okay, I do copy, and I wanted also not to take you back to the F10 menu if at all possible, so I'm just going to use space to do all this stuff.
All 6 air-to-air sorties will count. Your flight's guns are fully loaded, but you will make only 1 firing pass on the target during each sortie. This means that you will have to use some discipline with your bursts, limiting them to no more than 60 or 70 rounds, just a good quarter-second squeeze of the trigger. Otherwise, you'll be out of rounds before you fly all 6 sorties. 1 point per hit will be given, with a maximum score for the air-to-air phase of 400 points. Press space if you're still with me.
Okay, I'm with you. I've got caught up in the checklist also. I'm just going to go ahead and run through the
route. You can fly on my wing
takeoff here.
With the area, but it's not far to the range, and the route is marked on your map. The landmarks are very clear. The next flight up after you is Uzi 1, along with their tow aircraft Springfield 2. If you happen to fall behind them, don't worry, you're still up first. Now my tow speed will be 165 knots indicated when we reach the Dogbone Lake Gunnery area, and I'll hold there in a left-hand turn. Just remember to only fire at the target, not the tow aircraft. You should also maintain a 15-degree minimum angle off when firing to avoid stray rounds coming my way. Press space if you still copy.
Okay, I'm airborne. I've got my gear coming up. Red light in the gear handle, that should go off as the, yeah, there we go. And I've got the gear indicator showing up. I'll press space and I'll pull my flaps up.
After you and your flight have made your gunnery passes, I'll clear you to exit the area to the southeast. Fuel permitting, you can check in with the range ground party and look over the area used for the air-to-ground phase. My schedule shows your first air-to-ground sortie coming up this afternoon, so it would be a good opportunity to get the lay of the land. There should also be some Nellis aircraft out flying local sorties. They're always glad to mix it up with some guys from out of town. We have a GCI controller you can contact on Channel 5 or a vector after you fire. Well, that's about it. Like I said, you can find all of this in your info packet, Right-Shift-K, if you need to reference it along the way.
Okay, gotcha. And I'm talking about Right-Shift-K, the Kneeboard, and I'm going to have a couple of custom pages, well, probably a lot of custom pages, that are going to be automatically installed as part of the mission. It's been possible to do that for a long time.
Springfield 1-1. I'm approaching the dry lake northeast of Nellis and will make a left-hand turn. From here, it's 35 miles to the floating point over T-Bird Lake on heading to 308. I'm currently at 8,000 feet and will climb to 20,000 after the turn.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, like I was saying, custom Kneeboard pages, but these are still the default. It's kind of putting the cart before the horse to do a whole lot of documentation on this at this point, but I don't know, I didn't really like the way that went with the mission briefing. I think it was a little bit too long. It's not meant to be like the primary briefing. You're meant to, as with any mission, just read it yourself. I just wanted that to be sort of a backup for just the basics, so I'll probably cut out about half of that and just make it a little less verbose, and I had kind of envisioned that happening really before Taxi. And then, yeah, I think there would just be a lot too much going on if that were kicked off after the Springfield Target 2 aircraft gets rolling. But, okay, I've got it on my map right here, the route. I'm heading towards Steer Point 1. That's the dry lake that we see coming up below me. And then we had the audio from Springfield saying that at the dry lake, turn left to 308. He's going to be climbing to 20,000, but part of my briefing was that at this point I would climb to 22,000. And that's just going to deconflict me with Uzi and Springfield 2, who are going to taxi behind me. So the way this mission is going to run, and a lot of these details don't matter when it comes to the execution. All I really do is fly up here and shoot the target and go home. That's all that I have to do, at least, but there is a lot more going on. And Uzi is going to be the next flight up, with Springfield 2 being their Target 2 aircraft. So I'm just also making sure that I get the radio calls and that they do in fact follow me up to Steer Point 2, which we can see up there at what's called T-Bird Lake. It's on the other side of this ridge, and then I'll hold there 22,000, while Springfield 1, my Target 2 aircraft, holds over Dogbone Lake. It sounds more complicated than it is. I'm jumping straight into this, I suppose, without really going over the mission briefing, but it is intended at least to be a very, very simple mission with a lot more stuff going on, optionally, if a player wishes to do it. And there's Springfield 2.
Infield 1-1, Springfield 1-1. You should have a good view of the range complex to your left. I can point out some landmarks if you aren't familiar with the locations. Just let me know.
Okay, there we go. And speaking of optional stuff that you can do, and this would be completely optional, but I am going to go to the F10 menu, and let's see, I have beginner refresher training. I have, okay, let me try the I've lost sight
Springfield 1-1,
thing again.
Infield 1-1. I've lost sight of you. What's your location?
Okay, there we go. That.
Okay, Infield, try it now. If you still can't pick me up visually, I'm probably too far away. Press on to T-Bird Lake and we'll link up there.
I mean, granted, that is a lot of flair, but it's not really realism that I'm going for with that. It's just being able to see the darn guy and find him. So yeah, I think that works. Let me disable that and let me go through the tour. So F10. Let's see. I see you now.
Okay, Springfield 1-1. I see you now.
And then back to F10 and go ahead with the tour
okay,
F2.
Springfield 1-1. Go ahead with the tour. Okay, look left and you can see the Indian Springs Auxiliary Field about 30 miles away. This will be a good divert location if you need to get your aircraft onto the ground quickly for some reason. Now, about 5 miles this side of the field, you will see a large dry lake bed. That's range 1 and the location of the air-to-ground targets you will be using later on in the week. Press space if you're still with me.
Okay, I am still with you, and okay, I've got in sight now the flare. I think I'm too far away from Creech, or I call it here the Indian Springs Auxiliary Field, because that's the 1954 name for it. But okay, that seems to be working all right. Let's go for. Let me see. Yeah, we just hit space.
Now, from range 1, look to the right, north up the valley about 5 miles. You'll see a long lake bed stretching from north to south. That's Dogbone Lake, the location I'll be holding over. All 6 air-to-air sorties, including this one, will be flown over that location. Press space if you have it in sight.
Okay, I do have it in sight. Okay, flare stops on range 1. Flare starts on Dogbone Lake. Space,
okay,
and I should get
right
flare over T-Bird.
On the other side of the ridge is T-Bird Lake. It's the largest lake bed in the area and is ringed by mountains, so you can't miss it. That is where I need your flight to hold while I fly on to Dogbone and get your target set up. And that's coming up quickly, so that's about it for now. Turn directly towards T-Bird if you aren't already and hold there at 22,000 feet. I'll give you a call on channel 1 when I'm ready for you over Dogbone Lake.
Okay, yep, sounds good. Okay, that was it for the tour. I don't know, I'll be doing most of the evaluation as far as whether I like the timing on this and the sequence as I edit this video together, I suppose. And I'll just be also just double checking the timing, making sure that the text is visible long enough to be read. If, this will be...
Infield 1-1, Springfield 1-1. I'm going to turn left and set up in an orbit over Dogbone Lake. That's about 10 miles to the southwest of T-Bird Lake. Hold at T-Bird Lake for your flight at 22,000 feet. I'll give you a call once I'm set up.
Okay, gotcha. That was Springfield 1 turning left, and telling me he's heading out to Dogbone Lake. I can't quite see him now. I'll give another call just to get that flare effect again once I need to see him. Now let me see what the status is of the F10 menu. Okay, I still have the refresher training, and I just have the Springfield 1-1 what's your location call, which is, all that is supposed to be there at this point. Now, let me see here. If I were going to do, this is sort of where I would have envisioned refresher training to have occurred. I haven't done audio for this, but then again, all the audio, again, that you're hearing is not the final version. I would ideally not have it be me. Okay, so Springfield 1-1, Info 1-1, I can use refresher, go ahead. Firing using radar ranges, this means the target range and the amount of bullet drop the gun sight allows for is going to be set automatically. All you need to do is fly into position, place the reticle on the target, and fire. Again, referencing you back to the Kneeboard if you need it. Okay, press space if you copy. Sounds good. Okay, now to get the cockpit set up, start by placing the gun control panel selector to all guns. This ensures all 6 guns, etc., etc. Okay, next place the gun safety switch to the side camera radar position. This starts a 5 to 15 minute warm-up period. Got it, and then I just verify that the lever up on the HUD gun sight is caged, and that's it for that. Okay, when getting ready, uncage, and then verify the throttle twist grip is rotated full counterclockwise, which it is full counterclockwise, and that's going to enable the radar to provide ranging information to the gun sight. And let me see, it also directs me to place the gun heater switch on if the outside air temperature is 35 degrees. And it's not going to show since I'm flying this in VR, but I'm going to have on a 2D version these switches highlighted and telling you where they are. Okay, press space, got it. Okay, next, verify sight function select lever is in the TR high or low position. I want this in TR, and I'm going to, since the target tow speed is 165, I want to fire at about 275 for the TR to give me the proper indications, and press space if copy. Got it. Okay, then rotate the selector switch to guns. At that point, the guns will be hot. Okay, to press the electrical caging button, and then I just basically tell you how to fly into position, release the electrical caging button, track, and fire. And that is good. Space. Okay, then a reminder, only 400 rounds spread over all 6 air-to-air sorties will count, so make it 1 pass, 60 to 70 rounds, and that about covers it. And again, I reference you back to the Kneeboard. Okay, so that went...
Infield 1-1, Springfield 1-1. I'm set up over Dogbone Lake in a left-hand turn at 20,000 feet. Your target is run out and you're clear to approach, and remember, you only get 1 run on the target, so make it count. Give me a call on channel 1 after your flight is engaged, and I'll clear you to exit the area to the southeast.